Okay, that was Attack on Titan, Season 4, Episode 16.
It was that.
I never want to stop watching the show. Like, I just want to keep going.
This season has been a literal masterpiece at keeping me on the edge of my seat and just so immersed, and like it's so dramatic, like the things that are happening. I'm like, every 5 seconds my mouth is like open and my jaw hits the floor. And now we're getting my favorite character back.
Reiner.
I love Reiner so much. I just love when Reiner is involved.
I agree, and I don't think I've been as like, I don't know. When I first saw Reiner jumping out of the plane saying, "I'm tired of these walls," was like the start of something beautiful between Reiner and I. The start of something new. Yeah, and seeing him willing and ready and wanting to fight right now, I don't care. It's like with a lot of games of sports. I don't care who wins. I want it to be a good fight. I want it to be a good match.
So, these miscalculations that Zeke talked about, I believe if they weren't a part of this, I don't think Reiner would either be there or possibly make too much of a difference. But since Gabby and Falco are involved here, I think Reiner is going to try his hardest.
Yeah.
So this is going to be definitely everyone, a battle, really. Like, everyone is trying to win. And, what Peak said. And I think that's what Gabby is... Nothing Peak said, other than the fact that she wanted to side with Eren, was a lie, I feel like. I feel like Peak definitely believes that if there was no merit to keeping the Eldians alive anymore, that they would not be freed.
Peak might be one of the best characters in the series, too. I think that for amount of time shown, and for how they were used.
Maybe for how the ideology of this person, maybe.
I think it's so neat that Peak is a character that is aware and intelligent enough of the situation that they're in to be able to acknowledge what this other side sees as a reason for not supporting their enemies. Mm-hmm. And they use that in their defense and in their attempt at making these people believe that you are a traitor and that you are going to side with them. And she believed it to a certain extent. There are so many different characters in the past few episodes and who are currently maintaining or telling a lie that has truth based in it. And I think that it makes it so believable and so just compelling. And I believed what she was saying, but I was like, okay, what is the extra thing?
If we think about who are the most possibly actually relatable in terms of how, if we inserted ourselves, characters might feel. If we go from the Marley standpoint, I feel like Peak is making a good argument to be a possible relatable character for someone being put into this world, that instead of focusing on, do I trust the big government? Do I trust these people that are making my family suffer?
Yeah.
No, I'm going to trust these people that I fight beside every single day. And that Peak also is not an idiot. Peak wasn't one of the compliments about Peak and the Cart Titan was an intellectual ability, knowing good timing, definitely smart, definitely strategic. I can't remember what the word was. Intuitive. Something in that area was kind of the description of Peak. And I feel like Peak definitely has a complete... Obviously, to even know from the beginning that Zeke was telling lie after lie after lie, and then for the first time that Peak heard truth...
God!
Was that scene about rescuing Eren.
So good!
I feel like it's so nice to have Peak... It's almost like a breath of fresh air, this kind of... What we're getting at the moment of, what Peak feels. Is this awareness that it is not cut and dry, good versus evil, we're the villains, you're the villains. It's that because it's so messy, all she can do to feel good and stay afloat is to trust the people she knows instead of because it's so messy. She's well, I trust Porco because I fight beside him. I trust Reiner because I fight beside him. These are the people that I know. And I think that's pretty relatable.
Yeah, I love that, I think that it fell to the back of my mind it fell to the back of my mind because something else was showing itself more loud, that Peak was one of the three people in the interaction regarding Aaron and Zeke first, like, talking. Like, I think...
Why did we not even ever really talk about that? I think we might have offhanded been like, oh, is it... I think I didn't think it was a Titan, like a person.
Yeah.
I think I thought it was just a Titan that Zeke was controlling.
But even after we learned.
Until after we learned, we didn't really go back in our minds and, like, talk about... Especially the moment where I'm pretty sure we notice when Zeke starts talking and we're back in Marley, Aaron's there fighting the Warhammer Titan, and Porco and Peak are behind Zeke, and Zeke says something that definitely puts both of them in, like, the what are you talking about category. He says that Aaron's not his enemy or something like that.
Yeah.
And it's almost like Peak just kind of, it maybe made sense to her, and wow, okay. I'm kind of disappointed in myself to not have really thought about the fact that Peak was there and could have maybe pieced together what Zeke was planning from the beginning.
It makes it so good, like, here. Like.
Does that mean Zeke's not intimidated by Peak? You know, why... Zeke was so willing to say this truth in front of Peak, so... He's
an emotional dude. Like,
he is an emotional dude.
Well, like, I think that he truthfully was like, I know what you've been... Like, he was very caught up in the moment. He had just gotten his ass beat by Levi, and he was in, like, being held by Peak, you know? I think that it's brilliant. I really do. Question for you. Mm-hmm. The title of the episode, Above and Below.
Above and Below.
Above.
We got the airships with
below.
Ryder.
Annie?
Didn't Porco came from below?
Oh, that's true. That's true. Sorry. I have this
Porco
whole
hadn't
tangent
come from below.
On. You're right.
But
no, you're right. That makes way more sense. I'm
like,
sorry.
If Marley's here,
yeah.
Annie.
Well, I wanted to Annie to Zeke. Who's that? Who are you?
Who is that?
What blonde girl is turning to look at me with a headband on? Who I can't see their eye shape, but can kind of see their nose. It could be somebody else. I could be.
And their clothes are very ragged.
Yeah, it could be like maybe that's like the insurance, right?
The insurance.
Yeah, of like a plan, like a backup plan. It's easier to see. I still can't even see.
No, there's no way you can, like, distinguish who this is. It's on purpose that you can't distinguish who this person is.
I just meant like a insurance. Like, if you have another person on the inside, that's like even another person there to help you out if things get rough. It could be. That
maybe a secret relative with royal blood, that maybe Historia isn't the only one that can be counted on in terms of that.
So do you think that I'm kind of off base thinking that this might be Annie?
Yes, the nose shape is round, and Annie's nose is definitely not round.
Okay, that's fair.
That's what I'm going to go with. Also, Annie wouldn't have worn her hair like that.
That's probably very true as well. If this was Crunchyroll, I would 100% try to, like, screenshot this. But I don't think we can.
We're also talking about it like as if that is something that Zeke is seeing from his own memories, and it's not something from the future or something from himself, like from someone else, like one of the other Beast Titans.
Like,
oh, and, like, you know, like that could be a clue to who's gonna be the next Beast Titan.
That, like,
you know, the Armin and Mikasa. You know?
Yeah.
And that was right before Kruger died, basically was eaten.
It kind of looks like, what's her name?
Kaya?
Kaya.
It looks kind of like Kaya. That would be interesting.
Yeah.
How would Gabby feel about that if Kaya's the next Beast Titan?
I don't know, but I'm telling you, dude, if the only thing that's missing from being able to see this is exposure, and I can't
You're gonna need to, like, edit this picture in Photoshop.
You can see eyes there, right?
Yeah, but they have a lot of lines over them, and I don't think there's any pupils in the eyes.
Maybe intentionally.
Yeah, like, as you get closer, it gets creepier and creepier.
It's terrifying.
It's really scary.
Here, I'm going to pull it up on the screen so they can see it.
They can see how scary it is?
Yeah, it's honestly horrifying. It looks like Nanika. But I entertain the idea that it's Annie. It could be cool, right?
Sure.
Well, in our own time, didn't you come into my office the other day and you were, like, talking about Zeke maybe look for relationships.
Backup plan
I'm gonna back up and just let you explain it because I thought it was I think the thing that led me to this could be Annie, and in replacement of you thinking it could be Colt or Falco, you know?
Well, I wasn't thinking in the future it's gonna be Colt anymore.
I know, but just go on.
Okay. So I just thought of it the other day and ran into Ben's office and was telling him about it. I was starting to think about if you were Zeke, and we had just seen Zeke learn at sometime last episode, he learned that Eren was his brother, and obviously then he says to Eren, I'm gonna save you. But before that attack, with Levi shredding him up and saying to Eren, I'm gonna rescue you, Zeke probably had other plans on how he was going to achieve this goal of his. I mean, he had this goal from a young age, and so it's safe to say that he might have already been thinking about how to put it into the works, maybe finding like-minded people, finding people he could mold into someone who would want to do this plan too. And I started to think about Colt and how Colt might have been kind of his plan, his first plan, and now it might be plan B if he couldn't link up with Eren.
Yeah.
Only in terms of possibility of matching up in similarities in ideology, maybe. Obviously, we haven't gotten any clear sign that Colt agrees or knows the plan or anything. Obviously, I don't think he does, because I believe there was a conversation between Colt and Zeke where Zeke was like, yeah, you'll get all my memories someday.
Yeah.
But there is a similarity that would lean to the idea that maybe Zeke did kind of handpick Colt as the Beast Titan successor.
Yeah.
And that is
before Eren.
Before he knew Eren existed.
Correct. Exactly.
Is because Colt shared a similar story to a family that was a part of the Restorationists and got killed, and their kids are kind of left to try to side with Marley and prove themselves to Marley. And I think maybe he saw that, and Mr. Cassava had kind of treated him as a son, and maybe he kind of thought as Colt and treated Colt like, oh, I'm going to pick someone who had a similar life story to me, that then maybe once they learn my memories and they learn my plan through my memories, then they would then also continue to try to enact the plan.
Yes. So I thought that was brilliant, and I was saying that in replacement, in my mind, of him finding that person before he met Eren and that person being Colt, what if that was Annie instead? Because, I think that you're right, that, there's a very real possibility Zeke didn't know Eren existed based off of what Tom told him, too. He needs to find somebody that can help, somebody that he can trust. If he's looking out for people who he can trust or try to, try to develop some relationship and closeness with, realistically, if it's going to provide a narrative follow-through and outcome, it would, I think, have a better chance at being Annie at this point. Because it kind of could fill a gap, no?
Annie already has a Titan.
Yes, but I just mean as a person who, a physical embodiment of a person Zeke put his trust into before he met Eren, but after Tom died. You know what I mean? Zeke was alone, presumably, from Tom's death to meeting Eren, but he's still, based off of what Tom said, don't you think that he was trying to at least, go forward with wanting to change the world and trying to test out different ways? I'm just thinking that
we've not been given any nuggets at all that Annie had any type of relationship with Zeke.
We had Annie being the last one trailing, looking that we got to see last episode while Zeke was talking to Tom. Remember, you saw all the people...
Yeah, but you could also say that fit the personality, that she was just off in the corner killing bugs.
And that's why it's good writing. And again, I can be completely off base, probably am. I most of the time am, but I'm just saying, if it's written away, great. But if not, then it's trails, it's breadcrumbs, it's Easter eggs that Annie has... Did you need to show us the rest of the cadets over there, or the people walking by?
I mean... Zeke was the one trailing behind the other cadets. Annie was the one trailing behind the cadets of her age. Annie has still not awoken. She's still in there.
She's
even
here.
Though to us, she didn't need to be any longer unless she had kind of some plan of something she's waiting for to happen.
And I'm just saying, it would, but it could be one route that they go to, fill that, tie up that end. You know what I mean?
I could at least see Annie being a part of finishing up the plan.
Yeah.
Or a part of the plan in some way.
Dude, I cannot believe they have everybody wearing different colored armbands.
I was like, okay, stop.
White means that you're a Jaegerist. Red, I believe, means that you drank the wine but defected.
And because you drank the wine, you have decided to side with them.
And then if they were black, you drank the wine, but you didn't decide to side with them.
You're like a giant middle finger.
You know what was interesting? When Yelena was talking to, like, telling the plan of the euthanization plan to people, which I'm going to write in big letters so we don't forget to talk about it, how Armin responded to that.
Yeah, that's what I want to talk about.
I think that it was interesting that she described everybody still as, like, everybody's, like, she mentioned Eldians and Marlians, but at like the last word she said to define everybody here were subjects of Ymir. And that implication, like,
it's a broad title that really fits all of them. Like, even if they don't identify as from Eldia because they're like, we're from this island, we don't even know really, we just are learning the history now. But I think they can at least all kind of be under that umbrella of we're all the same. And I think that fits, you know, in the parallel with kind of what Peak was kind of telling Gabby.
Yeah, but it also puts, like, it's also consistent because it puts everybody else on below the pedestal of these grandiose people being Zeke and Eren. Like, if you are talking about us as a race by not saying Eldians, but instead saying subjects of Ymir, like, you could already be implying that, yeah, we're subjects of somebody. We are God's creation. These are the gods of this world, which goes to substantiate, like, her whole... I just... like
the devil of all Earth was, in fact, a god, and Ymir was gifted a miraculous power.
And Ymir
from
was
that
a god in her own right.
Yeah.
And that these... For the rest of history's going to be writing about these two brothers and their change and effect on the world. Yelena just wants to be here for that monumentous event. Like, it's awesome. I loved it. This episode is so good.
I just liked that she shot Grease in the head.
I loved it.
I
was so happy. I've never been so happy.
I'm not surprised that there were still some Marlians that had kind of decided to, instead of be killed or be in prison, try to live amongst the island, but still kind of harbored the feelings that Gabby definitely puts forward about these devils.
Yeah.
And I honestly, once Yelena shot him, I wasn't surprised once I started to think that that's not how Yelena wants this to go. Yelena is like, I want everyone to be friends, following the two brothers. This is going to be an amazing event. And, like... intuitive something in that area was kind of the description of Peak. Intuitive something in that area was kind of the description of Peak. Intuitive something in that area.
Intuitive something in that area